Hi, everyone. I'm Heben.
I'm Tracy.
And welcome to another round with Heben and Tracy.
Ah!
Nice, Tracy. Nice. It
I'm going to work on it.
You're running from a tiny bear.
No, I'm running towards the podcast table in excitement. And I can't wait.
We're so excited for the show today, guys. We're drinking mimosas because it's early.
Maybe it's early. I don't know what time it is.
Yeah, we're in LA and we have no fucking idea what time it is.
Nope. Maybe it's 3. Maybe it's not.
Everything in LA is weird. We'll talk about it later.
Gosh. This is a foreign planet. It really is.
This is a very strange place. What we got?
Okay.
We have my new reoccurring segment, Is This Real Life?
So excited.
Where I talk about things that don't seem like they're real life, which is a lot of things. There are so many things.
I've come across a million things, and I'm just like, you made this up.
Yeah.
You just put some words together and said this is true.
I wish I came up with the things I have for you today.
Oh my gosh.
And then we're bringing back Tracy's joke time.
Tracy's joke time.
The people demanded it.
Got tired.
They were kind of loud about it
on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you another
people
joke.
People be sending Tracy threats because they can't come up with jokes.
Yo, sir, listen,
do better in your own life.
Another joke.
Get your own jokes.
It's gonna be me and you.
But Tracy's very generous.
I hear you. You're welcome in advance. It's gonna be great.
And then we're interviewing Alexis Wilkinson. Yay! We're so hype about it. You might have heard about her because she made news last year for being the first Black woman in charge, elected president of the Harvard Lampoon, which is important. Harvard Lampoon, as you might imagine, very white. And she's also a writer on Veep. You know how much I love Veep. I'm so hyped.
Also, I would like to point out that she just did the most graceful bankhead bounce when we announced her.
Oh my God, yes.
We love a
y'all don't
bankhead
even know.
bouncer,
Alexis is the shit. I'm so hyped. I am so excited for this story I found for you.
Oh my gosh. I'm still not over the sagging pant of last edition. We
will never forget the sagging pant. Okay, so as you all know, Is This Real Life is a segment where we question reality collectively. It is for situations where you're like, did I read that right? Am I in the correct universe, the right timeline? Is this the planet Earth that we share together? All right, so our first story comes from Pleasant Grove, Utah.
Oh,
so you already know it's about
Utah.
To be white as fuck. Okay, so a mom in Pleasant Grove says her daughter Casey is being quote unquote racially profiled.
I'm done already.
For being finished. White and wearing dreadlocks.
Oh.
Now, if you're thinking, wow, that sentence could not be whiter. Just stay tuned, there's more. So she was reprimanded for wearing the hairstyle in a dress code dispute with her school, but Casey and her mother, Tanya Judd, say she wears them for religious reasons that have to do with her quote unquote spiritual journey with the Hindu religion after studying abroad in Guatemala.
Oh my God.
She's in the 8th grade, mind you. So I'm just gonna read a quote straight from Casey. I guess it's just like representing like me turning over a new leaf and like trying to find myself, said the 8th grader. So, I don't want to go in on a child's hairstyle. So I'm just going to play you a clip from the local news story where they interview the mom, who is a grown woman in a part of the story. I just need you to hear her explain this situation. Eleanor, roll the tape.
My daughter is white, and there's other students in the school who happen to be of, other race and ethnicity, and they have hair that can't be combed, and there's never been an issue regarding that before.
First of all, there are levels to this.
Right.
One, your daughter did not have a spiritual journey in Guatemala and become Hindu.
In the
then
8th grade.
The very particular sect that has dreadlocks.
Right.
Like, all right, I'm just going to call that into question. I'm sorry. She's in the 8th grade. But second of all, this school is helping you because if you see them, they're not great.
But question though, have there ever been any great white dreadlocks?
So that's the thing. I think we can make smart arguments. We could talk about history. We could talk about context, cultural appropriation, whatever. But my first argument always is they don't look good.
They don't look good at all.
They do not look good right now. Like
they just look like I can't even think of a good metaphor. And I love me some metaphors.
It looks like when you were in the 6th grade and you had to do a dissection, and the only thing they'd give you besides like the step up, which is the frog, is the owl pellets.
Oh my god!
And when you open up the owl pellets, that is like white people's dreadlocks. Yes.
such a great reference.
That's what it looks like.
That was beautiful.
That was a journey, but thank you. We got there. All right, so that was the first story. The second story is not a local news story, but something I found online. Randomly, I was Googling the Great Wall of China because I was amazed by it.
Yep.
And I noticed, as you Google, on the little side of the Google panel, it says 1,897 reviews, average 4.4. So I was like, what do you mean?
You can rate and
Who
review.
rated the Great Wall of China, and why does it have an average of 4.4? So I was like, this can't be real. Let me investigate. Like the small description Google gives is ancient world wonder that winds for more than 5,000 miles across China with towers and walkways.
Sounds amazing.
So yeah, ancient world wonder. I'm in already. Let me just read you a snippet of some of these reviews. From Jasmine Nelson, 3 stars. My child.
Oh my God.
My child almost fell over some stupid people running, so I wouldn't recommend the Great Wall. Because they aren't careful enough. ... But the food was awesome. Smiley face.
What? What does that mean?
That's why she gave it 3 stars.
So there are like restaurants along the Great Wall of China?
A lot of people brought up food, so I got the impression that there were like little stands or like, a little cart situation.
Okay.
Brad Limone.
Oh my God.
1 star. Food here sucks. Line way too long. So that was his review of the Great Wall of China.
Oh my God.
Okay, there's so much more.
Let me not drink while you read these.
No, please. You should not have water in your mouth. R. Casper, 1 star. It was okay, but the walking, ... Ew.
No, this is the Great Wall of China.
Great Wall and was like, you know what? I'm walking too much. I did not anticipate this Great Wall, including this many
5,000
steps.
plus mile long wall.
Max Thompson, 1 star. I had all caps, amazing time in China. The Great Wall of China was my favorite thing that I saw. So much nature and rocks, just stepping foot on history was a true life-saving experience. I had the best time of my life in China.
Awesome.
All caps, food was awful. The view was terrible, and I almost fell off. Plot twist, huh?
Oh my God.
From Deacon Leet, who looks like he's about 9 years old. 2 stars. The Great Wall of China is too damaged. When it's fixed, I will come again.
I feel like nobody understands what the Great Wall is or like what the point of seeing it is.
I'm reading some of the best ones. There were some that were like great history that I found and amazing and true world wonder. So I don't want to discredit the real people.
These are great though.
Who appreciated it. Chris Canales, 2 stars. It was okay. The service was terrible and the walk was a bit rocky and too long for my liking. Some good sights, but the staff was rude and didn't speak English.
Oh my God, how dare they not speak English?
Also, he spelled 2 wrong in this review. Sir, you barely speak English. And then my personal favorite from Andy Crawford, 1 star. Why is there opening times? It's a wall.
Yeah, that's a good question though. How you gonna close the wall? How are you gonna close the wall?
He was so fed up. He's like, 1 star. How dare you tell me what time to come to this ball? Oh my God. And that concludes this.
Oh my God. If for some reason you were just joining us on this spiritual journey that we call Another Round.
Okay.
I occasionally like to tell a joke.
Oh, Tracy's joke time.
So it's Tracy's joke time. In each of my jokes, there's a Bob and there's a Jerome.
Always.
But this time, there's only one male entity in the joke.
Ooh,
so today,
all right.
I know, we got to get a little
listening
fancy.
already.
So there's a Jerome and a Bobby Joe.
A Bobby Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She's country. I don't know, whatever. So just look.
She's out, guys. We've already lost Tracy.
No, I can do it. I believe it. I can do it. So this little boy is 10 years old, right? Little boy's name is Jerome. Okay.
I'm listening.
Jerome walks to the local cat house.
Okay.
All right. And with him on a string, he has a dead frog. So he's walking down the street and the frog is following him and it's making like this little plop noise. Plop, 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 plop. So he gets to the cat house and he walks up the stairs with the frog on the string behind him. Plop, 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 right? Shout out to my sound effects, by the way. So
yes,
he gets to the up the stairs. He rings the doorbell, and the madam of the cat house answers. Mm-hmm. She's very surprised to find a 10-year-old boy at the cat house. She's like, are you lost? And her name is Bobby Joe.
Okay.
So she's like, are you lost? Are you in trouble? Do you need help? Can I do something? And he's like, yeah, I need.
Wait, I don't know what a cat house is.
Heaven.
I'm sorry. I was like, where are we? Why is there a 10-year-old? Why is that weird?
So a cat house is
I'm
basically
gathering it's a
brothel.
A brothel? Okay,
Yes.
I'm following.
Housed with,
I'm 5.
I know, it's beautiful. So
Okay, I'm listening.
So
At a
he
brothel.
goes at a brothel. Yes. He's like, I need a woman of the night. And she's like, why? What do you mean? He was like, yeah, I need one, and she needs to have like some kind of like disease. She needs to have an STD.
Excuse me?
And the woman's like, okay, we need to have a conversation about everything that led you here
Yes, all
with
your
this
life
request
choices.
at this moment. So she brings him into the parlor, and she's like, okay, now what? What are you doing here? Why do you want a lady of the night that has like VD? What are you doing? He was like, well, I need to catch a disease so that I can go home to my babysitter. I'm gonna seduce her once my parents are out, just like they do in the movies. And she's like, oh my gosh, she is scandalized. She's like, you're 10 years old. What do you know about this? He was like, oh, see it in movies all the time. It's fine. No problem. I got this. And so she's like, okay, well, what happens when you give the babysitter this disease? And he's like, well, when my mom leaves and when I'm at school, my dad's gonna sleep with the babysitter, and then he'll get the disease.
Oh my God.
And she's like, where are you going with
Jesus
He's like,
Christ.
where are you going with this? And he's like, well, then my dad's gonna sleep with my mom, and then she'll get the disease. And she's just like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's conniving.
Yeah. And then he's like, no, let me finish. And then she's like, then when my dad is gone, my mom is gonna sleep with the mailman, and then he'll get the disease. And the woman's listening and waiting for him to continue, and he just stops. And she's like, so then what happens? And he's like, that's it. The mailman just gets the disease. And then she's like, why do you want the mailman to get a disease? And he says, because that's the motherfucker who killed my frog.
Oh my God. I feel like this kid is you, Tracy.
I love how like patient and diabolical the kid is, because that could take a long time,
Yeah,
right?
that's
I don't know how long it takes
a
symptoms to like.
long-term plan, sir. Wow. We're so thrilled to have Alexis Wilkinson on the show. As I said, she's a writer on Veep. Y'all know how I feel about that show.
Yes.
And just generally, super funny person, criminally underfollowed person on Twitter, I would add. Criminally underfollowed. Welcome to the show, Alexis.
So much. That means so much to me that you appreciate my social media presence.
Oh my God, it's so
hard
good,
to
guys.
be good at Twitter.
I try very hard. Yeah, everyone follow me. That's a good message for this podcast.
We like to ask all our guests, what do you do and why?
Well, I do comedy. I write it. I create it in other capacities, sometimes perform it. And I do that because, I don't know, I have low self-esteem. I don't know. I guess I do because I like to tell stories. I like to make people laugh. I'm decent at it, which is more than I can say from most activities. If I knew why I did comedy, I could save a lot of money on a therapist. I don't know why I do it. I just do it.
That's a fair answer.
Yeah.
You're allowed to not know why you do things.
I want everyone to get to know you a little bit. Where are you from? Like, what was like your comedy interest like when you were younger?
Okay, so I'm from Wisconsin.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, the most
Black people in
flyover of the
Wisconsin.
flyover states. Yeah, we all live in the same 30-mile radius. And we all know each other, and half of them are my family. So heads up to them. And Milwaukee specifically, which at some point was both the drunkest city in America by DUIs and also the most segregated
Jesus.
city in America.
Oh my God.
Sorry, South. So
about to say.
as far as comedy interest goes, I wasn't thinking about comedy really at all. Like, I enjoyed comedy, but I didn't know it was a job that people had. You know, like
Real,
it's
that's
not
real.
a real thing. I knew that like, oh, there are credits and there are names there, but they don't.
Someone
That's
did
just- You know,
something.
like people
Right.
in TV just make
Right.
things and they just come up. Like, it doesn't. It's so separate from anything that's in my life, like beer, cheese, or
Yeah.
I don't know, beer and cheese. Yeah, that's it.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's it. That's really nothing else. So my dad was a chemist and did chemistry for Miller, the beer company.
Nice.
And my mom was a computer engineer, so I was a big math science nerd. I had glasses. I was a mess, and I thought I really looked cute too, which is always what you think when you look back. You always are like, "Oh, I thought I was killing
like
it."
killing the game,
right? I was like, "Oh, my scrunchie matched my shoelaces." I was like, "Fuck, you can't fuck with me." The color coordination, it's all purple, bitch. It's all purple. You know?
Okay, so how did you get from your town in Wisconsin to Harvard? Like, what was that like? Did you know you were gonna get into Harvard?
No. I know people who I guess say like, oh, I only applied to 2 schools, Harvard and Yale or whatever.
no.
I applied to 17 schools.
Nice. I applied to probably like 15.
No, that's
So I was just like, well, what if I don't get into that one?
Right.
What if I don't get into
Right.
that
I was just throwing pasta at the wall, man.
Yeah.
See what sticks.
I need safety schools for my safety schools.
Right. Backups to the
college.
backups. I had like levels. I had color coordinated them. I had a
Yeah.
whole spreadsheet like going on.
It was intense.
Also, I want to know, like, what was the moment where you get the letter and you find out that you've been accepted to Harvard? Like, what did
Also,
that
I
feel
applied
like?
to Harvard and I didn't get in, guys.
I can't imagine having enough confidence to be like, yeah, I'm going to apply to Harvard. I just be like, why do I want that
It's
Harvard?
not confidence, it's delusion.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
I would
It's just I
have
just
liked either.
But then you got in. You got in.
So what was it like? Like, you get the notice. What did it feel like?
So actually, you can get like likely letters to school and stuff, and so I basically got a likely letter. So I knew way before I thought I would know, and it was sort of around maybe January or something. We might have been on Christmas break.
They don't really tell that many people
And-
about those.
Also, what's a likely letter? I don't know what that
I
is.
also got one of those. Everybody finds out like what, March 1st, April 1st?
April, yeah. I think.
And they send you a letter like maybe February to get you to be interested in them, but also to convey that they're interested in you.
It's very
so
odd.
it's very vaguely worded like, keep up the good work. We like what you're doing.
It's
like-
flirty. It's weirdly flirty.
So
it's
you're
just a lot of
what
winking.
does this mean?
So it's kind of like if this process was The Bachelor, like you get a rose, but it doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right. I mean, but
Even a rose signals too much. I think this isn't that
So it's
strong.
less than a
But
rose.
I don't know. I think if they give you, at least from what because when I got this likely call, I got a phone call. I
did
remember
not get a
asking
phone
lady, I
call.
was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you... Like, don't play these games with
Yeah,
me, bitch.
yeah.
Like,
Say
am I in
something
or not
concrete.
in? Like, don't call up my phone on the
seems
weekend
awful.
and play some fucking games on my
On a
home phone, on my
weekend.
landline. Like, bitch, please. I don't. On the weekend. I'm like, I'm in
That's
my
rude.
pajamas. I'm like, I didn't even, what?
Nobody needs this.
I don't need this. I was like, what are you saying? Crystallize what you're saying. And so I was in my pajamas on a Sunday. It was February, whatever, Wisconsin. It's cold as a bitch.
Oh, no.
And my sister, and, this is my landline or whatever, rings. And my sister comes into my room, and she has the phone. And she goes, Alexis, Harvard's on the phone. And it's like, because it popped up Harvard University. And I was like,
Okay.
the fuck? Like, what do they want? I was pretty confident. I didn't fudge my extracurriculars or anything, so I knew I'm like, oh god, this is when I am black. Like, it's in a verification call, is it? Like, because I am. So I answered the phone, and she was like, oh, we just wanted to say we really like your application, and we were really impressed. And I was like, okay, so
Is that it?
and so I was just I asked something saying, what does that mean? Like, what? And she's like, well, it's we're probably going to offer you admission. And I was like, so you're saying like. She wouldn't say you were offered admission, but she said pretty much like, as long as you don't flunk out of school or And so I got that phone call, and I hung up the phone, and Rachel, my sister Rachel was just standing there, like, and she said, oh, well, what did they say? What's going on? I said, I think I got in. I don't know. What's going on? And so at the time, my mom wasn't home. So my senior year, my mom moved to Louisiana, and so it was just me and my sister in our house.
Wow.
And so I had to call her and try to
Wait, what do you mean? You just lived together?
Yeah, I was 18. I turned 18. I mean, I have an early birthday in October, so I'd been 18 for the whole year.
So just like sisters living together?
Yeah, it was like a
that's so
bachelorette pad.
dope.
Yeah, and we're so nerdy, we didn't ever do anything. Just wanted to go to
so
school.
many parties.
We had 2 parties, and I had to beg my nerdy friends to have them. They were so lame. And they were like, oh, I got to take my brother to soccer practice. I don't know. And I was like, guys, I have an empty house. An empty, and they're like, well, what did my parents find out? I said, no one is gonna find out. Physically, you could stay there for a week. You could die in my house and no one would find out.
Oh my God.
Just come over, drink some wine coolers, you lame bitch. And so eventually I managed to convince them to do that twice. And I did kind of get caught because one of my friends left her driver's license in my mom's room, which was a very hard thing to explain when she came home.
Yeah.
You know, she was just hanging out on your bed.
Right. I was like, oh,
What happened was
she
And just her wallet spilled everywhere.
Because there was no reason for her to be in her room at any time. And
You
I
can't
don't
explain that.
No, I can't. And it was her driver's license of all things.
No,
and I was
no.
like, God damn, you shit.
she was having Bible study in your room.
Right.
So
we were praying to
serene.
the Lord because it's the
Yes.
best room in the house, the
Grace
master.
got too good in her.
And
Her
she
license
ripped out
fell
her driver's license. She said, Jesus.
Amen. Amen. Praise him.
Praise him. My permit.
Oh man. Okay. So
Amen.
I'm gonna need y'all to get it together.
Where's that towel? Where's that towel?
It's getting a little hot.
Yes, I got the spirit.
So you're at Harvard. Did you already know about the Lampoon? Was it something you were like from day one you wanted to be a part of?
Yes and no. No in the sense of when I got into the school, I did not know that it existed. And I've said this before, I Googled Harvard Humor Magazine and Lampoon came up and I said, okay, I'll try to do that. But then I was from freshman fall, I did apply like immediately as
What
soon
is like
as
the application process?
It's
that's side. Tell me about it.
It's tough. It's really tough. And as someone who's been on both sides of it, I think anybody on staff will tell you it's tough. And some people say it's the toughest comp, which is, application process for clubs at Harvard. It's really difficult. And it's a semester long process.
So like describe what
It's tough in the sense of you need to produce a lot of comedy. You need to produce a lot of comedy in a very specific format. I mean, we have rules as far as font size, what font you can use. That it needs to look and be a certain way. And for me, someone who didn't really write comedy ever seriously before, and definitely didn't write, like, I'd done sort of parody, Onion style, whatever stuff for my school. But I'd never written sort of literary, absurdist comedy, which is kind of what the Lampoon expects. So it was just sort of learning a whole different style of writing. And you have to sort of submit new pieces every week. We have office hours twice a week. You need to come in, you need to submit your pieces, you need to get them edited. You wait in a long line for people to read your pieces. It's just a slog, and you can go the whole semester and still not get in. And so, it's a tough. It takes a certain type of asshole to want to do that. And, I was just the right asshole for that. And so, stubborn and without too much else to do. And didn't care about my grades. Hey, so I did that my freshman fall, was summarily rejected because my stuff was awful. I reread it recently. I was like, ooh, girl, pass me. No, why were we writing that? That's terrible. And so I was rejected and I got really emotional about it, of course. And I vowed, like, fuck those guys, I'm never doing it again. And then, of course, I did it immediately the next semester and I got in at the end of that semester.
How did you go from there to being president?
Getting in freshman year is nice because it makes you one of the most senior people on staff, because it usually takes, the average number of tries is between 2 and 3.
Oh, okay.
And so there was only, I think, one other person in my class who was more senior than me who got in this freshman fall, which is very rare. And so that helped. And I kind of took on a sort of leadership position the year before. It's the worst position on staff. And so then when you run for president, you're like, guys, remember when I did the worst position on staff for the whole year? Y'all remember that?
And I'm assuming it's all white dudes.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it's gotten a lot.
When I hear Harvard comedy.
When I hear Harvard, period.
Yeah. I mean, so when I got on staff, I was not the only black person, and then he graduated, so I was. When I got on staff and after that guy graduated, I mean, there was very few women, and there were no females of color, other writers. Yeah. So of any color.
Familiar.
So
That's something that we both know a lot about, being the only fly in the buttermilk, as I like to say. I don't know if it's a southern
raisin
thing or
in the
not.
oatmeal. Snort again. She
Can't snort
snorts.
on command, guys. I have to feel it in my soul. But speaking of being one of the only black people on the staff, there was an article where you were talking about being elected the first black woman president of the Lampoon, and I want to read you a quote. You said, but I liked writing jokes. And even if I saw things wrong with the place, the way it treated women or people of color, the only way I'd change it was from the inside. How were people of color and women treated? Do you think that during your tenure as president that you helped to change the things wrong with the Lampoon that you saw?
I like to think so. The Lampoon is just a reflection of the world outside the Lampoon. Like, I don't think the Lampoon is in any way specifically, disadvantaging people of color any more than a disadvantage in all of Harvard. I mean, we're talking about Harvard. And I remember in one interview, I said something about the Lampoon being a historically racist and sexist organization, and the alums did not like that. They were not a fan. They're like, listen, black girl, we were okay with you, but you've crossed the line.
How did you learn about their dissatisfaction? Did they call you, send you a letter?
No, I mean, we have meetings of the trustee board or whatever, and I kind of heard through it's fun. It's fun. Oh, so much fun. And so I kind of heard them through the grapevine, actually through the president before me being like, yeah, they didn't like that. They didn't like that too much.
Neither did we.
Right. Thank you. Okay. And also, I'm like, listen, America is a historically racist and sexist institution. I'm not. What am I saying that's different? Like, what are you talking about? Harvard is slaves built this shit. Like, what are we talking about? We still have the master's house on campus. Don't bring that up. What are we talking about?
Wait, what does this mean?
I'm not saying anything that's new to anybody.
There's a master's house on campus? Can we find another word?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, guys, really, the master's house? I'm gonna go have lunch in the master's house.
Really? Oh Lord!
Just dance on up there. Cornbread. Here we go. It's my big day. I'm too dark to ever done this before. A little shuffle. I sure is glad to be in the master's house.
Yo, there's nothing white people hate more than when you remind them they once owned people.
They don't like that shit. They don't like that.
Their thing is, well, I've never personally owned slaves, so I don't understand.
Oh man. Anyways,
yes, let us refocus. Let us get out of the master's house.
So there's this. I'm assuming you've watched 30 Rock.
Yeah.
So there's this 30 Rock joke about how Toofer, one of the black writers on the show,
his name is Toofer,
is a 241 because he's black and from Harvard. Did you feel like Toofer?
I definitely thought after the election, sort of the press and stuff that surrounded the election was a complete surprise, because I mean, the Lampoon is a really private organization. We don't typically make the press for any good reasons. And it was crazy for me because it was, I've sort of got this position and dealing with all the responsibilities of that. And then my roommate had passed away sort of a month after that. And then all this media stuff was happening all at the same time. So it was just a lot going on.
You wrote an Exo Jane about that, actually.
I did.
As I was reading it, I mean, that was so heartbreaking to read. You were saying basically that this time when I was getting the most press and so many people were excited about everything that I was doing was also one of the most difficult times in my life because my best friend had passed away.
Yeah. It was it was really rough.
Take care of yourself.
Or did you take care of yourself?
I didn't at first. I think it was so hard just because there was so much other stuff going on to focus on the fact that I'm sad, you know, and like, I really am sad and I don't have to pretend that this didn't happen, that I'm okay. Myself and 3 roommates, her being one of them, all lived in a sort of a quad, whatever dorm situation. And she had the walk-through bedroom. And so her stuff was everywhere. And it was just very sort of emotional to deal with and being in that room all the time. And so, of course, people of Harvard, good people they are, were like, oh, we'll get you another room. And so they kind of immediately were like, everybody leave, go down to this other room. And because I was so busy and because I think I just didn't really want to accept it, I just didn't leave. And I think I'm lucky that my sister, who was at Yale, still is at Yale, she came up and visited sort of shortly thereafter. And I mean, at the time, everyone else, all my other roommates were down in this other room, and they kept sending like strapping young Harvard men to my room to help me move my furniture. But I wasn't ready. And so they were like, well, just take your stuff out of the furniture and move the furniture. So by the time my sister got there, my room was literally just piles of shit on the floor because I had no big furniture because the strapping young Harvard men had taken it all away. So I was like,
strapping young Harvard men, I'm like imagining like 2 dudes in like their bifocals.
Oh no, I mean like you remember the Winklevi from like Social Network? Like
I do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you do. Like one, like those like big, crew guys who are like, hey, sad lady, I'm here to take away your dresser.
I'm into it.
I'm like, thank you, rich man. Thank you, rich young man. Please take that dresser away. So they kept sending groups of them over, which kind of lifted my spirits for the moment when I was looking at them.
Something nice to look at.
And they did take my stuff away. But my sister came. and she found me living, like some sort of hoarder hamster person, and I hadn't washed my hair, and I smelled weird, and she was just, pull yourself together, woman. Like, she did all my laundry, she was like, we're moving into the room that you actually live in. And so she helped me move all of my stuff. And so I think that was having her there. And I think also in college, just mental health wise, I think in general, it's because these people don't know you, it's really hard sometimes for people to tell when something is wrong with you because they don't know what you're normally like. And so I think it took my sister, who knows what I'm normally like, to say something is wrong. You're not okay. This is not how you normally are. Some people are maybe normally messy or normally sort of, I lost a bunch of weight. She was like, you're too skinny. Like, what is going on? You love to eat. Why are you not eating? I know how much you eat. Like, this is not normal. And so I think it was just really good to have a family member there who could say, you take some time and deal with this. And also Lampoon people, particularly the vice president when I was president, Ellie, she was really great about just, if I told her, hey, I need, today I can't do it for some reason. And I remember over the summer, I remember getting like the alert on my phone that it was Angela's birthday, my roommate. Aww. And it was really early in the morning, of course. And it was her 21st birthday, would have been. And I was just a mess. And so I just told her, hey, I can't do it today. Can I have the day? I just need some time. And she said, okay. And she just took care of everything. And she told everyone to leave me alone.
That is so crucial. Having somebody who like
in your
gets
corner
when you just need like alone time is just amazing.
That was the other hard part, was sometimes it's just thinking, oh, I'm not really up for an interview or something today, or really up to do this thing or whatever, and sort of just trying to balance that and the emotional stuff and sort of my responsibilities as president. That's the other thing, is that I never want anyone to feel that, oh, our president is too busy flouncing around on MSNBC to run this magazine. And so just trying to balance all those things, it was a very difficult time. But looking back on it, I don't know, I think it proved to me that I'm way more capable than I thought I was, because I honestly thought I'm not going to make it to the end of this presidency. Like, it was just too much. Like, I'm going to take a semester off. I'm not going to graduate. Like, there's one of these things is going to fall apart. And so the fact that I actually walked across the stage graduation and finished my presidency and stuff was just like a major victory in my books, because I thought there were definitely times where I thought that's not going to happen.
Congratulations.
I know, shit. Nigga, we made it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
All right, you finished up at Harvard. How did you get from there to Veep? The promised land.
Your first job out of college, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, because the Lampoon is like such a big comedy institution feeder.
Yeah.
I assume there are mad people hitting you up like, hey.
The great thing about the press and stuff was that it alerted people of my existence. I started talking to more people, and I think especially with the alums of Lampoon, like, there is a really nice network there, but sometimes they can't keep track of who's graduating or whatever. So I remember talking to some, and they're like, oh, you're graduating this year? Like, they thought I either already graduated or wasn't graduating until next year. They can't keep track of people come and go all the time. And so just alerting them that, hey, no, this is the time right now. Right. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got in contact with Dave, who's the new showrunner, my boss. And I didn't know he was working for Veep. I didn't know he was in television at all. When he asked me he's like, oh, just send me some writing samples. If I hear of anything, I'll let you know. So I sent him some stuff. And so he called me and he said, oh, well, it hasn't been announced yet. I'm taking over Veep. Do you want a job? And I was like,
oh my
God. It was crazy. I mean, it was like the Harvard call over again. I was in the dining hall when he called, like eating lunch with my friends. And I was like, yo, 1 second, guys. And like, I pulled over to a little corner by the juice stand. I was like, hello, Dave, what's going on? And he told me all this. And so I hung up the phone and I went back to lunch and I just sat down and I was being really quiet, which is really unlike me. And so I was just sitting there like, and my friends were like, what is going on? And I said, I think I just got a job. I'm like, what? And I was like, I don't know. And then I went out in the hallway and I called my manager. I'm like, I think I just got a job. He's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know. and so then, he called HBO and they just figured the whole thing out, and then, did the negotiations or whatever. And then within the span of a week, I got to move to LA. And I mean, I graduated on a Thursday and I started working the next Wednesday.
Oh my God.
So it was just a very quick turnaround.
So, first of all, what is like your day-to-day like? What do you do at Veep?
Sort of how it works now that we're almost into production now, as far as scripts go, is that I don't have an episode that's my own, but what usually will happen is someone who's writing an episode will come to me and say, hey, can you write this scene? So, or sometimes it'll be something like, hey, can you give me a bunch of alternate jokes for this list of jokes? And so then I'll sit and I'll just try to bang out alternates for those jokes. So yeah, right now there hasn't been a script that's gone by that I haven't had anything in, which is really nice. And some shows aren't like that. Some shows have showrunners that rewrite everything. They have people who just rewrite everything, so you never really see your own voice. But sort of so far in every episode that we've written, something of mine is in there, whether it's a scene or these group of lines or this joke.
Killing the game.
I'm very excited. We got some good stuff going on. It's going to be a good season.
You talk a lot and pretty frankly about what it's like being in the comedy world. You wrote something for Cosmo called "A Famous Comedian Assumed I Was Backstage Because I Was Sleeping with Someone."
Oh God, I hate that title.
You talked.
That was not your title?
It definitely felt like
it was not. What is? Damn it.
You've also just talked about in general, like meeting like famous comedians that you admire that you find out to be like are just creepy dudes.
It's tough because I think I was actually literally just talking to one of the writers who's worked, I mean, everybody there besides me has worked on a bunch of shows and they have a lot of credits. They know what it's like. I think men and white guys in particular get away with this sort of torture genius, like, oh yeah, I'm creepy. It's because I'm so smart. I'm so brilliant. But like a woman doesn't get to whip her dick out every 5 seconds and like have people be like, oh, it's because they're eccentric. They're just so edgy and creative and
so
genius
different.
And they're so different and we have to put up with it because they're a genius.
Yeah.
Like, there are people who have terrible personalities. And so I think a lot of shows have this rule where they say, oh, no assholes. Like, I don't care how talented you are. If you're terrible to be around, if you make people feel uncomfortable, I don't want you. And I think definitely on Veep, that's true. Everyone is wonderful. Aww. Everyone is really nice. I feel very close to all of them. I feel comfortable around all of them. But I know on some other shows that's not true. And there are people who, like, everybody acknowledges, like, yeah, he's an asshole. Or, like, yeah, he's super creepy and weird.
Yeah. And then they'll be like, that's just him.
Right. But, like, women don't get that.
Speak on it.
I'm going to be frank about it. You know, you have to sort of just find the balance between, is this a person I can actually deal with? Is this a person who doesn't really know kind of that they're coming out that way? Is this a person who's either so rich or so insulated that they don't understand how they can come off to other people?
Or don't care.
Yeah, or don't care. And so I think it's just been finding the happy medium between, you know, there are some people who are talented who are going to be a little difficult to deal with, but are they so difficult to deal with that there's nothing redeeming about them, or there's nothing that they don't care enough that if I said, hey, you were making me uncomfortable, they really, you know, would ruin my career over it or something. That's the balance of mine.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, we're gonna move into our fun section.
Yeah, this is let's do something uplifting here.
Yes, let's uplift the people.
So this is
our little section we like to call pew pew pew.
So
that's our rapid fire section.
Ooh.
That's
oh shit!
That's what that is.
Oh, rapid fire! My reaction time is down. I've had like 3 of these.
Hey, well, nobody. I mean, it's
Rapidish.
not. Nobody has ever,
but, you know,
heard like rapid. So
okay. All right.
So
I'm ready.
Question 1: If you could communicate telepathically with squirrels, what would you talk about?
What is this?
We like to disarm our guests very early at Pew Pew Pew.
If I could communicate telepathically with squirrels.
And how do you feel about squirrels, like in general?
I have a little story I had with a squirrel once.
Squirrel
story. The squirrels room. With squirrels. My freshman year, I was in my dorm and there's all these, like, Harvard Yard squirrels are really bold. They're not afraid of anyone. They'll come and take stuff out of your hands. They'll like sit on your shoulder and be like, oh, what's the fuck's up with those nuts? What's going on? And you can get, I got roasted nuts out of the subway and there was this squirrel who saw me and obviously somehow knew that I had roasted nuts. Maybe he could smell them or whatever, and like beeline towards me, was standing in front of me, like literally like,
what's good?
What's good, Ma?
What's up? And so I was like, oh, hey, little squirrel, and I gave him a nut, and he was so excited, and he ran, and he like buried it and like patted it down and then came back.
See, is where you fucked up.
Bro, but see, this is the problem. I felt bad for him because he kept coming back and the other squirrels saw where he was burying them and dug him the fuck up. And I was like, my squirrel dude, they see what you doing. You need better hiding places. You out hiding these nuts. My dude, I felt bad. I was like, like, dude, man, you need to put these shit in your cheeks and run off someplace.
So you would
I would
communicate
tell them,
telepathically. You would tell them, hey watch your
my
back.
dude, watch your
My
back.
squirrel
No
dude.
new friends. No new friends, my squirrel dude.
Okay? He's not for you.
He's not here for you. He's here for your fall, my brother. He's here for your
That is an
fall.
excellent conversation to have with a squirrel. All right, next
Okay.
question. What is the worst date you've ever been on?
Oh God, where do I start?
I feel like you have so many good stories.
psychopaths. Oh my God. I don't know what it is about me, but I attract men who like have low credit scores and just don't love themselves or anybody else.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, I have so many terrible dates.
What's your
God,
favorite
which one?
terrible
Oh,
date?
let me think.
Do you have a favorite one?
Ooh, okay. I met a guy, and see, this is my problem. I'm the queen of picking up dudes in fast food joints. I once went on a date. I went on a date with the manager of Qdoba so he would buy me queso. And I got free burritos there for the rest of the fucking year. And I didn't even fuck him. Like, my God, it was amazing.
Oh, that is
That
incredible.
is amazing.
No,
Put that on
seriously,
your
flawed.
resume.
I know. I
For
didn't
real.
even
You know,
fuck it.
I didn't even
Still got
fuck
free
him.
burritos.
Okay.
And some queso.
Yeah.
Those are goals.
Guacamole
right?
is extra.
Right?
Not for me.
Like, I brought my friends in and was like, it was on me, bitch. Don't worry about it. I came in being like, yeah,
You just
queso
making
on that.
rain burritos.
Queso on that. Guacamole. So anyways, so I did it for the free burritos.
I respect the hustle.
I'm about it. And so I met this guy at like a Tasty Burger, and he had, this is what I should have knew. It was a black dude with a skateboard.
That's a red
It's
flag?
a red flag.
Why is that a red flag?
I don't know. Not even a regular skateboard. He had one of those thick skateboards. You know what I'm saying? Like a little.
What? I don't.
It was one of those. The skateboard was too big. It was too big.
Too big. Oh my God.
And I met him, and he gave me his number. Blah. We exchanged numbers, and he's
Was
like,
he on the skateboard when you met him?
No. He just pulled it out as we were walking and started
Okay.
skating along next to me, and I was like, your skateboard is too big. So anyways, it was too big. And so he's kick pushing. And we exchanged numbers, and he's, I want to make you dinner. Come over to my house. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, skateboard man, we can be cool with that. And I confirmed with him the day before. We were texting, whatever, and he's like, yeah, come over. He gave me his home address or whatever. I told my friends, I don't really know this man. So I was like, listen, I'm going to go dinner. I ain't going to fuck this guy, so I'm going to be back here. So if I'm not back in like a matter of like 3-4 hours, you call me, you check up on me, because maybe he murdered me and put me in his basement. But he's a black dude with a skateboard. They're not that type of crazy. And so at the time of the day, I got all dressed up. Like, I put on at least $50 worth of cosmetics.
Yes.
I showed up at this guy's house. Girls.
Oh.
Why was he not home? Why was he not home? So I call him. I say, I call him. Straight to voicemail. I call him again. I text him. I'm like, am I at the right house? I see his name on the mailbox. I know this is his house. I can see his family pictures through the fucking window. I'm in his front lawn. Where the fuck he at? So I'm thinking, I think he stood me up at his house.
At his own house?
I'm like, but that was his house. That was your house.
I know where you live.
I know where you live. I'm like, and I said, I think I might have even tweeted this. I'm like, you lucky I didn't steal your mail and shit in your yard, because that's what I should have done. But I'm a lady, and so I didn't do that shit. But you lucky, I know where you live. I could have egged your house or some shit, but I'm classy, so I
classy.
didn't. So I just left.
Yes.
Could have broke your fucking window. Your stupid family pictures in there. I know it's your house. Stupid. And then, girls.
What?
Why did he call me 2 hours later?
What
He called me. So I answer the phone. I'm like, hello? And he goes, oh, hey, what's up?
Bitch. Don't do that.
Why are you so casual?
I was like, what the fuck is up? What is up? Really, what is up? What is up? And he said, sorry, I wasn't at home. I was at work. Sorry, I got busy.
No.
So I tell him, I'm saying, so I'm supposed to be okay with it. And he's like, oh, but I'm free now. So I'm supposed to get on my skateboard and skate on over to your fucking house? Oh, let me just get the
quite
rollerblades
obviously.
and just get on over there. Motherfucker.
Yo.
And so I told him, and obviously I was just like, absolutely not. Like, don't call me again. So I hung up on him. And then, of course, my friends, because they're great, they from one of their other phones texted a picture of their limp penis to him from like a random. So now he's got a limp penis on his phone from like a random number in Portland. Yeah, that's some limp dick shit you did.
Roll with me on this one. Roll with me.
Okay, all right.
If you were a dude, how big do you think your dick would be?
Did you guys write these questions together?
I threw in a bunch.
Collaboration.
I like
I was not expecting
this. You guys are not a
We
Google
do.
Doc.
Listen, 5 minutes
You didn't see
before
her
we
update
started.
that?
Tracy added a million more questions in here.
Right, like I was back here in the corner, like if she had, if she was.
So to answer the question,
Yeah. It's a thing I think about a lot for me.
My dick would be big because I'm tall and I'm black. Like I would have a big dick. Like I'm damn near 6 feet tall. I definitely have a big dick.
I'm jealous.
I think I would. I think I totally
jealous
would.
of what, Tracy?
Because mine would be so small. I really think so. I don't know why.
You're jealous of the man that you are not.
The man that I am not is jealous of the man that you are not.
All right, y'all. All right.
Oh my goodness. What a day. What a life.
What a life. So do you want to stick
Yes.
around for rounds?
Do you have a round to buy for someone?
Sure.
Yay.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, let's do some rounds now.
Okay,
All right.
rounds.
Would you like to buy the first round, Heben?
Sure.
Okay.
So I've been talking with my therapist. Lately, I've been talking a lot with her about families, and I realized that I attribute a lot to being an immigrant what could just be my particular family structure. I'm just like, it's just immigrant stuff.
That awareness is important.
It is. And I'm just like, more and more I'm thinking about what do I attribute randomly to immigrant stuff versus what I think is just like unique to the people I know.
Right.
But in general, I want to buy around for immigrant kids because I just feel like we have so much angst.
Tell me about immigrant
So-
kid angst.
One of the things I think as an immigrant is like there's this immigrant existential angst that comes from the awareness that your life could have turned out completely differently arbitrarily.
Respect.
I'm not saying other people don't come to that realization for other reasons. Like black people in America come to that realization for a lot of reasons, like when people are killed by the police arbitrarily and they're law-abiding citizens. Depressing shit. But like, I was born in Ethiopia, but I often think about the person I would have been if my family didn't like all move to America. Like, who would have been like heaven in Ethiopia with the resources we had then and like the people we would have been? Because it's like every single immigrant adult that I know was like an engineer or a pilot or a doctor in their home country, and then they come to America and they're taxi drivers and service workers and they have to deal with annoying white people all day and like that shit. I just think about like all the alternative timelines of like the people we could have been.
Right.
Like, if you live in a third world country, and I use that phrase because y'all came up with that, not y'all, but
They
did.
Don't put that on me.
She didn't come up with that.
But
Part
I
of
feel you,
it
I
is
feel
like
you.
there's like a small tiny movement of like ethnic studies people who want to reclaim third world. So I use it for that reason, but also because y'all want to call us the third world. I'm going to remind you of that every fucking day.
Yeah.
Oh, remember when you called us the third world? Like, we do not share this fucking planet.
Right.
Oh, listen.
Anyways, sometimes you just got to embarrass people.
Sometimes you just gotta embarrass
But
people.
I really want to give a shout out to immigrant kids because you just grow up with all this angst and this burden of like, you cannot think of all the things that could have happened and then like also be a functional human, like
true.
you're thinking about like, oh, in a different timeline, I would have probably been like a jailed political blogger for having an opinion. Oh,
Right.
that's cool. I'm 5. Why do I know that?
Why do you know what a blog is?
Like, you just
A lot of
know all the
questions.
different ways you could have lived and died. And it's like your parents are like, yeah, we traveled 50 miles through a desert to get you here. And it's just like, oh, word, now I have dumb problems. Why? Why is that happening? So it's just like, it's such a peculiar angst. You are aware of the whims of the universe, and it's like there's a lot at stake for you if you're an immigrant kid. Anyways, all that is to say, I see you, kids with the angst, immigrant kids, this one's for you.
Yay.
Round on me.
Aw, I love that. Snaps.
Who are you buying around for, Tracy?
So 2 seconds ago, I decided to change the round that I had intended to buy because I feel like this is a little more timely, a little more relevant to this trip to LA. I want to buy a round for Ross Dress for Less department stores
Yo, that's
Because
literally the first
listen,
place we went when we
it's
got
the
here.
first place that we went both this trip and
That's
last trip. The last time we were in
Yes.
LA, we was like, we gotta find a Ross.
We gotta find
a
Ross.
Ross. Ross is amazing. So we had a live show 2 nights ago. Seems forever ago. I had nothing to wear. Went into Ross. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna find anything. I quit. As soon as I quit, bam. Olive green jersey dress fit me like, oh my God. Like, I looked good as shit in that dress.
To clarify,
It was-
she means jersey cotton, not a jersey dress.
Yes, that's
That's
important.
exactly
That
what
is
I
so,
thought of.
oh my gosh.
Because
No, no, no,
would
no.
not know, Tracy. Jersey
Thank
cotton.
you. Thank you for the assist on that one,
Big
Jersey.
numbers on the front.
Yeah.
Like you J-Lo
That's
now?
not
You
me
Mariah
and my
Carey at a
Jordan.
sporting event?
Me and my Jordan jersey. No, but just like jersey fabric. And it was just amazing. It was $11.
Yo, jersey
I also
dresses.
picked up 2 other dresses because why the fuck not?
Right.
But what I love most about Ross is that you can
The way
get
you say
any.
that. Rouse.
Oh shit. My favorite thing about Ross is you can get anything. Like they got the little socks, obviously. Like you can get
Yo, the first thing I get when I'm at
Haven't got
Ross.
like 23 pairs
I
of
got
socks for
so many
$5.
socks. They're so
Where
cheap and
else?
pretty.
But Ross, can you do that? Nowhere.
Yes.
But like, you know, like when you're in line and they just got like all this random ass
like the knickknacks.
yeah, they got like salt and pepper shakers and like chocolate covered sunflower
candles.
seeds, candles. It's just like you can get any and
Yeah.
everything from Ross. It's so great. Also, I've been telling you about this song forever and ever and ever. I want to see if I can play a little
Is it a
bit.
song dedicated to Ross? Just
Yes, girl.
Allegedly.
Yes, the surprise. You wouldn't expect me to say yes. It's amazing. The song is called I Got It at Ross. 2 black dudes just singing about things they got from Ross. I really want to play a little bit.
Attention, bargain shoppers!
Hey, yo, Will.
Already lit.
Man, where you get them fly jeans at, man?
Dawg, I got it at Ross, son. Yo, where did you get that luggage from, son?
Man, you know I got it
Oh,
wrong.
man, you stunt, dawg.
I got another question. Where'd you get those non-stick pans at?
I got it at Ross. I got it at Ross. Brand new jeans, I got it at Ross.
Why is it so lit?
Last
It's so
week's Tim's, I got it at Ross. Went in with $100. Walked
Come
out
out looking like a boss.
Okay.
Yes. So the song is lit. Ross is lit. My round is for Ross.
Shout out to Ross. Shout out to Ross.
Shout out to Ross.
Would you like to buy a round for someone, Alexis?
Oh man.
Yes. I recently sort of came out of like my cave to re-enter into politics and paying attention to stuff, and so I
God.
would like to buy a round for Planned Parenthood.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Because this is some bullshit. First of all, I'm
First
just gonna
and
put
foremost.
these like I literally just maybe 3 weeks ago went to Planned Parenthood to get some birth control because it's cheap and I can get in there like right away. And if I ever had the need to have an abortion, that's probably what I would go. And it's so important for women's health issues, and it's so aggravating to me that like they're literally about to shut down the government because, and also the government doesn't even fund the abortion services. Like it just drives me crazy. Like so many women get their only doctor services from Planned Parenthood, and when I went in there, it was lit. I will tell you that. It was fucking lit. I think my practitioner was named Gloria or whatever, and she was like, "Girl, what kind of sex you having? Anal, oral, vaginal?" And I was
All
like, "Girl,
of it.
you getting all of my business." She's like, "I'm sorry, this is what the form says. I gotta ask." and she was doing my weight or whatever, and she was like clocking up. She was like, "No." I was like, "It's girl, me and you both are asking those questions, girl." Gloria, you know, it was lit. It was lit. I loved it. I was like, "God damn, Planned Parenthood, I love you so much." And they're just so supportive. And honestly, it's all like I've never been in a Planned Parenthood that wasn't almost completely run by women of color. Like
Wow.
this is some insidious shit, and it really, really bothers me. So I would like to buy around for
Yes.
Planned Parenthood, all the good
Shout
they do,
out to all
and
the
Gloria
services,
at the
yeah.
Hollywood Planned Parenthood who hooked me the fuck up.
Yes, shout out to
Gloria.
Gloria.
And knows all of my sexual history now.
Yes.
Gloria, respect, man. Round
I
for
think
you.
I saw like a graph or something somewhere on the internet that said like of all the services that Planned Parenthood provides, only 3% is like abortion services.
Yeah.
And like everybody knows Planned Parenthood is like the abortion store, which is
Right.
ridiculous. And
No.
it's like, do some Googles. Like, you can find like what the truth is. Do a Google too.
Do a Google or two.
Do a Google.
No, it's
everybody.
serious business, and the government doesn't even fund abortions. Like it's specifically like
Not allowed,
mandated
yeah.
that it's not allowed. So like, what are you even arguing about? Like you're
What
just
are
mad
you
that this
even mad
place
about?
even
Should
exists.
not
That it
screen
exists.
for breast cancer, women.
Right. Like I mean, like again,
Right.
like and when I
Don't
was
do
7,
it.
when I was I think either 15 or 16, I got birth control for the first time. Now that I was having sex, like nobody wanted to have sex with me. As I said, I was unattractive, but it was just hopeful thinking, wishful thinking. You know? And so I went, and that's where I went. Planned Parenthood. They didn't ask me any questions. They gave me a paper bag. I shit you not. And it wasn't Gloria. It was some other girl named like Charisse or whatever. I was like, Charisse, girl. She was like, what kind of sex you having, girl? I was like, none. She's like, you're right. And she gave me a paper bag full of like condoms, diaphragms, you know,
Diaphragms.
like
is it
flavored
pronounced that
lube, things I had never seen before.
Right.
And I called it my Planned Parenthood party pack, and I kept it with me my freshman year of college. And I was like, oh, you need some Plan B, bitch? Whoop! Don't worry, Alexis got you. Thank you, Planned Parenthood. You know how many babies you prevented in my dorm room alone? Shit.
Doing the Lord's work. Look at you.
Lord's work.
Amen.
God damn.
Yo, thank
Shout
you
out to-
so much for staying,
Listen.
buying around, being
Can
our
we
guest.
take you back to New
I
York with
know.
us?
We're so thrilled to have you on the show. Thanks for coming
Thank
by.
you so much for
Yes,
inviting me.
this
I
is
laughed so
live.
much.
fun.
I slobbered and I wiped up all my lipstick.
So where can the people find your work, Alexis? Ignore Tracy.
They should follow me on Twitter.
Criminally underfollowed.
Criminally underfollowed.
Oh God, it's Alexis. Pretty easy to find. Very professional. They should follow me on Twitter. They should watch Veep. Watch the next
Yes.
season of
Everybody
Veep.
watch Veep
It's
with
gonna
me if you
be
don't watch it already. Let's talk about it.
Really good. I'm really excited
Yes.
for it.
Follow her. Watch her work.
Watch Veep, yes.
Watch her slay.
Thank you. Every time we finish another episode, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think this was going to happen. We did it. Heaven, we did it again. Yes. Shout out to everybody who made this happen. Shout out to the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad.
That is our producer and podcast mommy, Eleanor Kagan,
Yes.
with editorial oversight from Jenna Weiss Berman, who we miss dearly, and with production help from Julia Furlan and Meg Kramer, who we also miss dearly. Shout out to Jean Grey, who has provided us with so many great jam tune songs. You can follow her on Twitter at Jean Greasy. And also shout out to Don Will of the Almighty Tanya Morgan. You can follow him on Twitter at Don Will. That's DONWILL. I still have no idea why I spelled that out.
Shout out to you, Tracy.
Oh my God. Shout out to Heaven.
Shout out to Ross.
Shout out to Ross.
Ross.
Everybody go to Ross.
Yes.
Go to Ross and get you some motherfucking some Halloween
Non-stick
decorations,
fans.
some non-stick fans. Go to Ross.
As usual, you can find me at Heaven Rants. Heaven, like the place I was named after, but don't believe in. Rants, like the only noun.
Every episode.
Yeah, I say this every episode-ish. Rants like the only noun people use to describe
Yeah.
Kanye speaking.
Funny story, Heaven.
Message.
We were in the car yesterday and you were sleeping. I was talking to my mother on the phone and she made me promise, which I refused to do. Then one, I would ask you why you have not accepted her friend request. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that. And two, she was like, so is it pronounced heaven or heaven? And I was like, so you supposedly listen to the podcast,
I thought
right?
we went over that.
I know. She was like, we've never had this conversation.
Anyways,
It was
if
like,
you're
listen.
just tuning in and don't know, it's an immigration typo.
Yeah.
It's not a good
I
story.
told her the story. She was like, this
My
doesn't make
parents
sense.
wanted me to name me Heaven from the Bible, the English word heaven. That's it.
They were just like, nah,
English
we're
is
just
a
gonna
hard
spell it.
language, y'all.
English
It is a
really
hard
There's an
language.
A in there. Why is there an A in heaven?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Heaven.
That's
You can
difficult.
follow us at
Yes.
Another Round at BuzzFeed.com. That's Twitter.com/Another Round, Facebook.com/Another Round, BuzzFeed.com/Another Round. We
Yep.
out here. And if you want to email us, ask for advice, Another Round at BuzzFeed.com.
We'll give you some awful advice. We'll have fun doing
We
it.
will.
If you like us, rate us very high on iTunes. If you don't, chill out. Keep that shit to
just
yourself.
don't say anything.
Just don't. We don't need that.
Pretend you've
We
never
don't
heard of
need
this.
Go drink some water. Hydrate yourself.
Yeah.
Do a face mask.
Hydrate yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love yourself a little bit.
Perhaps
Maybe then you're like,
Yourself.
oh,
Call your
Yoga.
mom.
yeah.
Take your
Some
meds.
yoga. Do some Googles.
Do your Googles. Do your Googles.
Oh man, this is such a fun
This
show.
was amazing.
Thanks for coming, Alexis.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thank y'all.
I felt terrible. You know, I have no nuts left. He was so happy. He was burying all of them. He buried like 5 nuts. And they all got dug up. They all got dug up. He's going gonna be the wintertime. He's gonna starve. He's gonna be like, oh man, I buried so many nuts in the yard, man.
He's like, I'm good. My family gonna eat forever.
Right.
I've never
He's
felt
gonna
bad for a
starve.
squirrel.
He's
until
gonna
this moment.
fucking starve. My dude.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
Oh, the betrayal. I hope he ran back and checked.
You're
and,
a good person.
Cut some bad squirrels out of his life. That's what I hope he did.
No new squirrels. No new squirrels.
Those are not his friends.